everyone, and welcome back to another Storytime video. Today, I am going to talk about the disgusting high school lunches that I had, of course, back when I was in high school. Now, as a fair warning, besides the title, I just want to say here and now that if you're eating something right now, stop. Either stop eating or pause this video and finish eating because I'm gonna go into Uh, I might go into grave detail. Well, detail enough to the point where I would not like it if I were eating myself. So I just wanted to quickly say that before I really got into this, because I would appreciate the same common courtesy if I were watching a YouTube video about someone talking about the same experience or something similar to what I experienced in high school with disgusting school lunches. And I got reminded of this because one of my friends posted a video to Facebook last weekend that I saw where I kind of remember when he. Well, I do remember when he recorded this video, but I had forgotten about it. Where he had tried to take a sip of his milk, and he said that it tasted weird. Like it had a weird texture to it. And he poured it out onto his tray, and it was slimy. It was slimy. And yeah, the milk was all slimy and disgusting. And this is something that I've been meaning to talk about for a year, but that I've kind of forgotten about it. But that reminded me of the fact that school lunches at the high school I went to were awful. But school lunches before that, I went to one school from preschool all the way through the 8th grade, and then I went to high school at a completely different school. The school I went from preschool through the 8th grade did not have bad lunches. So that's why I am only saying or talking about high school lunches, even though I know some of you that have had bad high school lunches probably had bad elementary school and middle school lunches. So I did not really have any bad elementary or middle school lunches. They were all right. They weren't the best, but they weren't bad. I mean, there was definitely some nutritional value there. But I distinctly remember in high school, we could get free breakfast in high school. Now, I will give them that. That was pretty good. But normally the orange juice was expired and that they would just leave it out in a container, in an open container on ice. For days, if not weeks. at a time. I know this because they would leave the orange juice out for lunch. Maybe they wouldn't leave it out overnight. I hope not. I am willing to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they probably didn't. But the fact that they left it out for lunch, and as I recall, the orange juice would normally be expired by 3 or 4 days to a week sometimes. So, I mean, having orange juice that's expired by 1 day that you're serving to students is one thing, but having it be like more than a day is a totally other thing. It's all bad. I'm not trying to say that any of it's good. No, it's bad. It is really awful, and I would even bring it up to the lunch ladies. In a very polite way. Sure, I am fired up about it right now, but I understood that. Well, I gave the lunch ladies the benefit of the doubt in the fact that they might not know, well, they might not be able to really control. Well, in the fact that they might not really know, but it's like, okay, this orange juice is expired. And they were like, "Oh, well, we have to serve what is given to us." And we have no control over it. Really, what I should have said was, don't you guys, or why don't you throw expired orange juice away? I should have asked them that. But yeah, looking back, I should have asked them that in that kind of tone, like not a mean tone, just like a, why don't you just throw them away? But I guarantee you that they would probably say that they would not get more in until they got rid of it. It's like, well, then get rid of it. Well, they didn't say that. I'm just making up stuff at this point, but they did not want to throw orange juice or milk, for that matter, away. And so it's like, so I did stop drinking the orange juice after I went through several times and I saw that it was expired. Most of the time, more than a day or two expired. If it had expired, if the expiration date was maybe the day before, well, if the expiration date was the day before, I could maybe go, okay. You might not be able to keep track of when the expiration dates are as well as you should, and it's like, okay, you give them the benefit of the doubt, like, okay, they have a job to do, and I might not know if it's stressful or not, so, okay, it's like, okay, that's fine. But if it's like more than a few days, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then it's like the orange juice tasted rotten if it was expired. I'm thankful that well, it didn't taste, it smelled rotten. Because I did decide to grab an orange juice if it was a day or two expired and smell it before I drank it to because I wondered if it was okay to drink. Because orange juice has sugar in it, and sugar lasts a long time. I mean, that's how candy like Skittles and Starburst last a long time. It's just because it's full of sugar. That's why. I couldn't tell you why sugar lasts so long off the top of my head, but sugar lasts a really long time. But yeah, I guarantee you everything was put into cans. And there were several times where I would get a chicken sandwich. Well, okay, so to preface this, we had a bigger lunch line that would normally have what we or what the school would be serving, whether it be well, after years of being out of high school, I'm going to be honest with you. The only thing that is really memorable to me that I remember is the General Tso's chicken. We would have that once or twice every school year, and that was the 1 or 2 days out of the year where everybody would eat lunch. Everybody loved the General Tso chicken that I talked to. Even people that hated the school lunch, and rightfully so. But there was a main line where they would have what the school would be serving that day, and then they would have an express line where you could get a burger or chicken sandwich and some fries, which, by the way, fries counted as a vegetable. Tell me how on earth fries can count as a vegetable? Potatoes are a starch, and potatoes are closer to being it's like potatoes are a starch, they're not a vegetable. Sorry, I'm trying to not get upset, but the way they treated us for lunch, I look back on it now, and it really upsets me. It upsetted me in the past when I was actually in high school, but now as I look back on it, and I'm trying to get healthier as a person and eat better. It makes me so mad that they did that and that they continue to do that. It just makes me upset, and I'm sorry if you guys don't like my frustration, but I'm trying to not get frustrated, but sometimes it's really difficult considering what I was eating for 4 years. But my what I was gonna say next is that whenever I would go to the express line, which I normally did that as a freshman before, at the very end of my freshman year, someone was like, "Oh, you're going through the express line all the time." I'm like, "What? That That line over there is a lunch line. And at that point, I didn't know about breakfast. When one of my friends I would sit with in the morning would get breakfast, well, actually, the express line had the express line was open for breakfast sometimes. Actually, I don't think it was open for breakfast. Yeah, I would wonder where people would get their breakfast. But yeah, sorry about my rambling. The chicken for the chicken sandwiches. There was one day I got a chicken sandwich. I believe it was the last day I got a chicken sandwich too. I had 3 bites of said chicken sandwich, so I basically had half the chicken sandwich. There was a chicken knot where there was a lot of congealed chicken in that bite, where you bite down and you can't bite down all the way through because it's not actually chicken. I had encountered that on 3 straight bites. And at that point, I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm not eating the rest of this chicken sandwich. But I'd heard from a couple seniors that school year that back when they were freshmen, 3 years before that, they had the school had actually charbroiled or grilled, or not grilled, but they had actually they had good burgers. Like great burgers. And then they said after their fall break that year, or after a semester, they messed it up. It's like, oh gosh. And I don't know if they've fixed that over the past few years since I have been there. But they certainly didn't fix it when I was there. And if I had to do it again, I would have brought my lunch to school. Because school lunch, for me anyway, I appreciate that the fact that, well, okay, let me slow down and be able to get the wordage right and what I'm trying to say and why you came to this video in the first place. What I also like about what they did at the high school is that they depending on how much money your parents make, your lunch is free. Now, unfortunately for me, my lunch was not free. Now, thankfully, I didn't have to pay for it because I was in high school. I do feel bad for my dad because he had to pay for it. And let me tell you, it was $2.50 every single day. And with that, I got a milk, a vegetable. Well, I could have picked what I wanted, a fruit or vegetable, but they counted freaking. I will never understand Well, the only conceivable reason why I could see them categorizing French fries as a vegetable is because either people are picky and wouldn't want a fruit, which I put that in air quotes for something in a second here, or they do not like the fact that the stuff comes in frickin' cans. I guarantee you, not everything came in cans. So I'm not trying to make a broad generalization that everything came in cans, but I guarantee you, 90% of all the school food there came in cans. I guarantee you, 90% of it came in cans, and that 10% of it was cooked, or cans, or another means beside a can. Basically not cooked. But yeah, it was $2.50 for milk, a fruit or vegetable, and the food that they would serve. For instance, the General Tso chicken, which would come with rice or a roll. But that rice, dude, that rice was, I believe, sticky white rice, and hardly anybody would have passed that up. So you'd get all that for $2.50. And if you got anything extra, like if you wanted two fruit, like if you got like if they had an apple that you could pick from for the fruits, and if you wanted some raisins, I believe that would cost you extra. Uh Now, I do not put all the blame on the lunch ladies. Uh, I don't know how much blame I'd put on the lunch ladies. It would really depend on how much they could influence. Like, if they could have a say in what kind of food they get to serve in their cafeteria, I would say they would get to have more of the blame, in my eyes, than if they are given a whole bunch of stuff by the school or by the state in general and just say, hey, work with this, feed the students this. In that case, they would deserve less of the blame. But regardless, it is a huge gray area, and one in which without knowing a whole lot of the facts to what goes on behind the scenes with those lunch ladies, I am not going to just automatically throw them under the bus. If I knew more details, then I could either give them a break or not. It would honestly depend on that. And I, as a person, I hate to throw people under the bus in general. And I rarely ever do it, so I'm not going to do it here. But I will say, though, well, by the way, I was going to say throughout all my rambling that my sister always brought her food to or always brought her lunch to school. And she is smart for doing that. I should have done that. But last thing I will say in this video is that regardless of how much say the lunch ladies have or how much of the blame regardless of how much say they have to what they get to serve in their cafeteria, I will say that the school lunches at the high school, and I guarantee you the school lunches at my high school are not, well, I guarantee you that the high school I went to is not the only school in the United States that has terrible lunch. So, we just need to overall have better, healthier school lunches in this country. Because I will tell you that a good diet can really help with your mind and help you to learn. It is very hard to learn when you're hungry because maybe you don't want to eat terrible school food and thus you don't perform so well on tests, and if you don't perform so well on tests, maybe the state doesn't get so much funding because you didn't do so well on the test. But school lunches just need to get better in this whole country as a whole. It, no pun intended, but it disgusts me to see it. And thankfully, in college, I get to basically choose what I have to eat, or what I get to eat for lunch. So my college doesn't have a cafeteria, but I don't know if the food at the school would be good or bad if my school even had a cafeteria, but I get to choose which food or what kind of food I get to eat on a daily basis now in college. And see us, guys! I do believe that will do it for this storytime video, and next storytime video. I will see you later. Goodbye, guys! Thank you all for watching.